Hey Rich, could you tell me about Car and Classic, but in 90s Eurobeat?
No problem.
If you want to sell your car, get a slice of the action. You can choose a normal ad or an online auction. Doesn't matter what you sell, a Fiat or a Beetle. Every month your ads in front of 4 million people. Ooh, Car and Classic, ooh, it's so fantastic. Ooh, Car and Classic, ooh, it's so fantastic.
Smith & Sniff is sponsored by carandclassic.com.
Fantastic. Ooh, Car and Classic, ooh, it's so fantastic.
I'm Johnny Smith.
I'm Richard Porter.
This is Smith & Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things.
I wanted to talk briefly about something we were texting about, or messaging about this last week. The Wells Vertige.
Oh yes!
I don't know. Is it?
I don't
Wells
actually
I can
know.
do. Wells got that covered. Unless, as it turns out, he's German. It's Wells, but I think it's Wells. Okay, that's covered.
I'm
Park
so
that.
glad. I'm so glad you brought this up because I sat there reading a brief article about it, and I think I tried to pronounce it in my head 4 different times.
Well, I saw this. I think Autocar covered it, and maybe it's been in Evo as well. So, for people what don't know, this is a small British sports car of the kind there used to be loads of, and it feels like there haven't been so many recently.
Truth.
And then along comes a chap called Robin Wells. Now, as far as I can work out, he's doing this.
No, Robin,
because
isn't it Robin Hall? There's another guy.
Robin Hall's the engineer.
Are they both Robins?
There's Robins, yeah. It's
a pair of Robins.
Yeah, you can rely on Robins. So Robin, maybe one of them always wears a very strident red jumper under a jacket, and the other one just quite dowdy brown jumper under a brown jacket. I don't know.
And one stays in a hedge. The other one goes out and fetches food.
Goes and stands up on top of their factory and just shouts. Yeah, Robin Wells is the businessman and the money man behind it. And as far as I can gather, he sort of really, really wants to do this. And that he's not in it ultimately for the money. He wanted a sports car, small, compact, mid-engined.
Yeah, it is mid-engine. Yeah,
nothing quite hit the spot, and so he decided to do one himself. So he hired the other Robin, and Robin Hall, who I think he's credited as working on the original BMW Mini. I think that's the thing. I think he's an ex-Rover guy. In fact,
yes.
Do you remember? He did that thing called the FBS Census.
Now, is that a car that was renowned for handling well but looking shit? Or am I talking out of terms here?
Yes. I mean, there's a rich pantheon of handling well but looking shit cars. I'm thinking of what was that? The Gumpert Apollo. Apparently it handled well, but it looked like shit.
Do you know the Gumpert Apollo is the only real car that looks like a Lego car?
Yes,
going back to the conversation a few weeks ago. In fact, I don't know why Lego haven't done it, but Lego and Gumpert need to become bedfellows instantly. Because that would work.
Well, I think did Gumpert not go out of business and then maybe just make one yourself out of Lego? I just wrote this down. HWBLLS. It's not very snappy.
What?
Wobblers, but handles well, but looks like shit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But anyway, so the FBS Census. Yeah, I thought wasn't the FBS Census the one that it did? It looked like dog plop, and I have a feeling this is like 20 odd years ago. There was some story where the prototype had been stolen.
Oh, really?
But then I have a feeling that it was all a bit of a PR job. They'd just forgotten where it was.
When you say the prototype had been stolen, what? So they were about to show the car 2 weeks later. It got stolen, so they had to hastily make another one out of mental notes, because they hadn't written anything down.
Yeah,
and they
couldn't remember. They got this amazing, fluid, elegant Pininfarina-like design, and they just couldn't remember how it went, so they made it look like shit. No, I don't know. I'm sort of welcome to Smith & Sniff, your leading source of half-remembered stories from the early 2000s.
Yes.
So anyway, the thing is, one Robin hired another Robin. It seems like Robin A, good at money stuff and wanted a car that he would actually want to drive. Robin B knows how to engineer cars, so they got together And
Robin S. was
seems-
supposed to show them love, but she or
keeps
suspension,
turning
depending
up
on how you look at
workshop
it.
and going, yeah, this all looks great. Can you show me the love? No, we haven't. There isn't any love in not as
No,
such. I
we've
can
got
show you
sports
the-
setting and normal.
Yeah,
but I don't know
show
about
the
love.
gearbox. Do you want to see the gearbox? Show
Yeah.
you the glove box. I could do that, but
The glove. I've actually only just realised that glove is love with the G in front of it. Oh gosh, how stupid am I?
well, I do that. It's one of those games that I like to play because I work at home on my own a lot. If I'm making lunch, I just like to change the words to songs, and one of them is sometimes just change love in a song to
glove.
gloves.
Well, isn't that song by Brian May? Too much glove will kill you. And do you know what? He's absolutely right.
He was thinking of potassium, wasn't he?
Well, no, I think I've driven a car before in winter wearing sort of very thick ski gloves, but with no feeling in them. And I've got a bit
Yeah.
caught up in the wheel and nearly had
Oh.
an incident. So actually, I suspect Brian May's had a similar situation. Too much glove will kill you if you're
I've
not
got that at
careful.
the moment with my Panda. There's a slight issue with the heater, and
When it doesn't work.
basically, yeah. And so you have to drive for driving comfort in this weather. You have to wear a pair of big, thick ski gloves, and it takes away some of the finesse of driving. My favourite change love to gloves in a song lyric at the moment is "Small Town Boy" by Honsky Beat, because it's got the lyric. The gloves that you need will never be found at home. Which
Oh, of course.
It's a very relatable lyric because I've been struggling to find a pair of gloves that I know I still have, but I couldn't find the fucking things. Turns out they're in the door bin of my car. But
You flute.
I know. Anyway,
Going back to Robin Gibb and his vertical jangle or whatever it's called. What's it called? Oh, sorry. No.
So yeah, from the top, the vertical jangle. There's a lot.
It's
of
made
things
in a
about it.
place called. It just sounds. It just sounds made up. It's called the Wells Vertige, made in Bishop's Itchington, and you just go, "This is a Terry Pratchett book. What's going on?" This is, and then I'm thinking,
Assembly will be completed entirely by orcs.
do you know what? This has got me thinking. There's just British cottage sports car companies trying to all sound like they're in the middle of a period drama. You've got the McMurtry Spearling, which again just sounds like a sort of an old weapon that's designed to overcome a fort. And then you've got the Wells Vertige or Vertigue. It's brilliant.
Vertige.
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 I have to say, I know we're mocking it. Kevlar reinforced body. Doesn't it weigh like nothing?
Well, I think it's 850 kilos, something like that. So yeah, I was going to say,
Which is amazing.
We sound like we're joking, but I saw this last year, the year before, when it was first. They were letting some people have a go, and I think Steve Cropley from Autocar drove it. And I think it looks really good. Like it looks like a little sort of old endurance racer or something from the 60s.
Yeah.
The only thing that I don't like about it is it's the thing that trips up small volume sports car makers every time, pretty much. It's just got sort of generic alloys on it.
Yes,
they don't quite work.
they don't work. They're usually they're not really era specific. They don't work with the rest of the kind of aimed era of the car. Apparently, they're
Well, that
Speedline
being-
wheels, but.
Oh, are they? Well, that's the thing. I mean, they're perfectly good, and I bet they're light and they're strong and all the rest of it. They just don't quite work, and it's a hard one. And you realise why bigger car companies, they don't just take off the shelf wheels; they design their own because then they can make them work with the design of the car.
Yeah.
And but I was so curious about this. I found a picture of the Vertige in profile, and I very hastily photoshopped on some like steel wheels, just really basic steel wheels to see what it looked like. And
Those Dunlop alloys, the ones that they put on lightweight E-types.
Yes.
See, that could work on the Vertige,
Heck, that would look amazing.
wouldn't it? And you can buy them. You can buy those.
Can you?
Yeah, you can buy them. They're made by, oh gosh, you put me on the spot now. Bobbins. It'll come to
Boots
me.
the chemist.
Yes, that's right. Superdrug sell them. And
Oh, yeah.
They're really
Weird, isn't
good.
it? It's
Yeah.
very, very odd business model.
But
they
this
have
this
these
thing, like you say, 850 keys, 2-litre twin cam Folds engine that makes over
Folds
200
engine.
horses,
Yeah.
and 0 to 60 time in about 4.5 seconds. So that's quick, and it'll feel really sprightly. I guess it'll feel Elise-like, or Exige with a full roof.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. But actually, I quite like the fact it's only just over 200 horsepower, because that's not loads, is it? But it's a really light car. And I sort of think my favourite Elises were always the lower powered ones.
Yeah.
Once you get into like a supercharged Exige, it's like they're sort of impressive, but I didn't enjoy them as much.
Well,
It felt a bit sledgehammery.
They're nervy. I mean, it depends what you want out of a car. Sometimes you want one that you can ring it out, like an Up GTI. You can ring it out in lots of places, and it's very confidence-inspiring, but still driver-focused. Whereas as soon as you dial in a bit, it's like, have you ever driven one of those Caterhams that's a proper Widowmaker?
No.
Oh, I mean, a really powerful
Sort of not
Caterham.
interested, because you just go, oh, I feel like this is missing the point.
A really sort of flary Caterham is one of the cars which definitely makes the knuckles white. And I come back from an hour's drive and I realise that I've got jaw ache because I've been clenching my teeth tightly together so hard that I've not relaxed for an hour.
You go to the dentist and they say, do you eat a lot of sugary food? No, I don't. I say, "That's good."
No.
Do you drive an extremely high-powered Caterham? Oh, I do, actually. Oh,
Yeah.
Dentists generally recommend that you don't for long periods. Very bad for your enamel.
Very good. That's why dentists always recommend things like Lexuses and S-Class
Volvo
Mercedes,
seats.
Volvos.
Yeah. Relaxing, yeah.
Nice, cushy seats.
Jaw-loosening cars. Anything that slack jaw motoring.
It's the opposite of the krill sifter driver, isn't it?
Yes.
As you've said before, you've either got the clenched mouth driver who's like, oh my gosh, I'm on the ragged edge all the time, even when I don't want to be. Shouldn't have gone to work in black ice on my track day tyres guy. And then you've got the other guy in like the krill sifter in the S-Class with classical music playing really loudly in the sort of Harman Kardon setup or whatever it might be. He's almost falling asleep, frankly. But but it'll get him home, the old S-Class, because it always does. Sweet, sweet S-Class. Lovely.
So anyway, name aside, which confuses me, but I'm sure we'll get the hang of it. I think the Wells Vertig sounds absolutely fabulous. I'm really, really hoping that it's as good as it sounds. And initially,
Price as well. Price.
yes,
Price.
they're saying 50 grand, aren't they?
Less. I think there's between
Less?
40. Well, between 40 and 50, I read.
Crikey.
Which could mean the 50 is your sort of the highest end. I mean, I'm not saying that 50 grand or 40 grand is a bargain, but you've got to look at a fairly well-spec'd hot hatch these days. It's knocking on the door of 40 grand.
Oh, easily. I mean,
So-
Golf R is 40
Yeah.
grand car, isn't it? And I think
gotta
when
be.
I tested one, it was 50 because it had a few options on it. And let it not be understated, the latest Golf R is no good.
Well, it's a sad-looking car, and unfortunately, being a Golf R, it just means you'll have nasty thieving wankers hanging around on your drive every few weeks.
Yes.
Looking to take it and do some naughty bank jobs or some robbing. So it's one of those
Yeah.
cars which you sort of have a target on your head. That and an Audi
yeah.
S3 or,
Yeah.
or an RS3, you might as well just give it away to the nearest dog walker.
Yeah. The Volkswagen Golf Jam. Oh no, some wasps have turned up again. Shit, I shouldn't have left it outside. What a nightmare.
The Golf Jam. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I gather they're starting to build the vertical now. But the thing is, so part of this, as far as I can work out, is that the Robin, one of the Robins, the one who owns the company, he built this because he wanted a car that he'd actually want to drive, and
Which is pleasant.
yeah. So he's not sort of obsessed
not-
with making money off it. It's not the main.
Well, he can't
point.
be. He's selling it for between 40 and 50k. It's a ground-up new car, albeit with a proven engine. But it's still a new car. And so it's kind of... Maybe it's a charity.
I was going to say it's an act of
Maybe it's a charity.
benevolence.
It's the antichrist of all the bloated 2.5 ton
Yeah.
Beetle-backed SUVs that don't even have very big boots. He's going, no, screw you, world. Let's do this. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
down
just-
with it.
I'm-
All of the Robins.
If they, I know. I mean, I don't. Unless, of course, it turns out they will only sell it to people called Robin, in which case,
Oh, that's what it is.
we're screwed. I could.
Well, they're only going to sell about 25, 30 a year.
Do you know anyone called Robin?
Yeah, I've got an electrician who's lovely called Robin. Funny enough, he drives a hot Audi. He's probably
Oh.
got some people hanging around his house right now.
All the time, like starlings. Just
They are
sort
like
of just
starlings.
pacing about
They
ways
are
to-
just
to
they're starlings
squeak
with
the
just
cheese.
with cuff ankle tracky bottoms. Yeah,
He could be your front to buy one. I
know a couple of Robins.
Yeah, I know a couple of Robins.
do you know any female Robins?
I do not. No,
I don't think I know a female Robin either.
no.
Oh, that's a shame.
I mean, apart from obviously Robin, the superb Swedish pop star, but I don't personally know her.
She's brilliant. I like
She's
her.
so good. I know. I mean, in the sort of league of sad bangers, I think Dancing on My Own is going to be number one.
Dancing on My Own is up there. It's never boring, is it?
Never.
If listeners, if you don't know what we're talking about, then
Just go and listen to
Just
Robin.
look up.
How could you not know what Dancing on My Own is? What it's brilliant, brilliant song. That's one of those songs where I could never get bored of it. I can listen
No,
to
it's
it
great.
over and over. It's superb. Anyway, as far as we know, the Swedish pop star Robin has not been involved in the construction of the Wells Vertige. So
I think she should be, though. She should
Yeah.
get first. I think Robins of interesting repute should be
Yes.
given first refusal on one.
Yeah.
I've just noticed it's got a 206 litre boot and a 50 litre fuel tank, which means it's good for 400 miles of average driving range. Again, not shit.
No, not shit.
And I believe there's a full-size spare wheel. I know that's a real geeky
What?
fact, but
No,
listeners
but
of
it's
this
not.
podcast
That's
will appreciate.
brilliant.
They made sure there's space for a full-size spare wheel because that was one of Wells's earliest requirements. A space saver will not do, he says, because there would be no way of bringing home a punctured full-size wheel and tyre. God, that's so deeply practical.
This is great.
Maybe it's exactly what 2023 auto world is looking for.
It sort of feels absolutely spot on for these times in many ways. Really
does.
small, really light, just nothing you don't need. But I mean, it doesn't. Looking at the interior isn't cack, which is
No.
often. It looks perfectly all right. It's got nice seats and everything.
There's a smattering of Alan Cantara on the dashboard, I see. The seats look like they're out of something else, but not in a bad way.
I would assume they must be.
Well, you'd
out of something
you'd
else.
want them
I
to
don't
be,
think-
wouldn't you?
I don't think they could just do like.
Oh,
I don't know.
I like
saw
it.
as well. I saw somewhere possibly.
It's
on
like a
Pistonhead
recession
that-
TVR, isn't it? Like a well thought out recession TVR.
I mean, so as another case in point, that Astra hybrid that I drove to the live show in the Northeast, which was a perfectly nice car, surprisingly nice car, but that was 40 odd grand. I
That
don't
was
think
top
anyone
spec,
is,
wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't think anyone's cross shopping between an Astra and a Wells Vertige, but even so, it's like this is what 40 grand gets you these days is not as much as you'd probably think. Cars are pricey.
What a great two-car garage for you. Fiat Panda 100 horse and a Wells Vertige. All right. Yeah, you like that? Is that a good
I don't
two-car
know.
garage?
Well, it's not.
Would you go,
I was going
would
to
you
say,
go electric up?
well, the electric up is useful for towns and then Tyne.
Time.
I feel like a kind of on my sports team of cars, I feel like actually the Vertiguy would be replacing the Panda as small, lightweight, lots of fun, not
True.
very thirsty kind of thing. Just
It's-
without any
it's-
back seats, but that's fine. Don't use them very much. So,
It's fast, but it's not a 2.2 Prelude, Richard.
well,
That's all
what
I'm
it
going
is.
to say.
Anyway,
well done, Wells.
Why did we? I can't remember why I wanted to bring this up. Oh, just because I thought it sounded great, and we did mention it on message the other day, and I just think it sounds really fascinating. And
Do you-
if anyone can tell us how to correctly pronounce the name, that would be the final.
Yeah. Or if your name's Robin and you're going to order one,
Yes,
please get in touch with
Please
us.
entitle your email. My name's Robin, and I'm going to order a car
A
made
Wells
by Robbins.
Vertige.
Yeah.
It's, the email address, should you wish, is hello@smithandsniff.com. For example, you might be one of these people who buys a T-shirt that gets airbrushed by a person in a shopping mall. It's at this point I hand you over to my colleague, Richard Porter, who mentioned this to me over Christmas, and I'm still chuckling about it
Oh, my
because
God.
I can resonate. It resonates with me.
Completely
Having gone
forgotten
to
about
so
this.
many... There's always one at a car show. There's always someone at a car show airbrushing a shit T-shirt.
well, I haven't seen this. And I was in a shopping mall in Arizona, and there's a stall where a guy was airbrushing T-shirts. But he was doing one. I couldn't work out that he was just doing it to demonstrate what he did or if it was a commission for somebody. But he was doing a T-shirt. I have to find the picture now. I covertly took a picture, which is the thing I
You sent it to me. Yeah, you did send it to me because I've been howling about it ever since.
Put it up on the Patreon. But because the T-shirt was like it was an in loving memory sort of vibe.
It was a funereal T-shirt, wasn't it?
It was funereal, but it was the solemnity of the T-shirt was sort of undermined by the choice of typeface and the general sort of airbrushedness of it, I thought. I'm sorry, no, just because I was fascinated by really talented airbrush work as a kid. Used to watch people doing it on cars, custom motorbike tanks and funfair rides. I just still think it's a really impressive talent. But when it comes to airbrushing T-shirts, very rarely have I seen one that works. Most of the time, it's just a bad interpretation of a car, and it's usually an owner's club. And it's an owner's club who no one in the club has thought about typeface, no one in the club has thought about spacing, any form of graphic design, and they've just gone, just give it to that airbrush dude and just get him to smother something on, and it's awful. It's always purple faded at the edges. Don't you think?
It's just a shit T-shirt, I'm afraid. It's just
the spiritual home of shit British airbrushing is the travelling fair.
There is a lot of that. There is a lot of that. What people that don't really look like those people. I often send them to people. I often put them on social media.
Yeah, I think you've sent me some. And I was the last time I went to a fair like that. I always feel like around the Dodgems, there's a very poor rendering of an unspecified 80s or 90s Ferrari.
Always. It's
Someone
an F50.
Who might be Damon Hill, but you're not sure, or possibly Nigel Mansell, or maybe Michael Schumacher. It's not clear.
I've got a photograph of a faux Schumacher. I do, because I was chuckling about it, because it just didn't look right. Even if you walk to the left a bit and to the right a bit, you thought maybe I've got to look at it in a slightly different way.
There's a really clever parallax thing going on. You just at one angle, it's suddenly you go, oh my God, it's as if he's here. Yeah,
that's right.
I quite enjoy a good bit of fairground airbrushing.
I do as well. It's been something
like it could be interpreted a different way.
Well, you've had way too many onions and cheap meat, and you've got to go behind the gen set and just make a mess. I told you about the magazine company I used to work for. They used to do these annual summer fairs, like corporate events, and they were quite big dues. This was back when magazines made a lot of money. And often there was a fun fair there. It was glorious because it was free and there was free drinks. So you can imagine it was a mess.
Great combo, yeah.
I remember one of the guys on our team who was the proofreader. I'm not going to name him. He got pissed really early, very quickly. I think he might have been on the shorts, like just straight after dinner. Anyway, it was a hot summer night, so it didn't get dark till about 10, and it was about 7 now. He was wearing a white linen shirt, like pure white, the sort of guy who was building a holiday home on Grand Designs kind of shirt. And he disappeared after quite a short amount of time. We're like, oh, where's so-and-so gone? We're like, I don't know. The fun fair looked fairly quiet. Anyway, music started to come on, and I walked round the back of... I actually was going for a nature wee, and I walked round the back of the generator lorry, and he was asleep, leaning on the generator lorry. But standing up, this was standing up. But not only that, the generator lorry was absolutely covered in grease.
Oh, God.
And he was in this pure white linen shirt. And honestly, I reckon he was stuck to the lorry like a fly in a fly tape. And I woke him up and sort of led him away. And it was just like someone had rolled black ink right up his back. I didn't tell him at the time. Because he was obviously a little bit in... he'd overcooked the units and he just needed to go and sit down and drink some water. But yeah, bless him. I don't think that shirt survived.
I used to know a bloke who felt like it was forever writing off shirts, but often in ways that weren't his fault. You know, somebody standing next to him somewhere would just, you know, tip a carafe of red wine over a white silky shirt or something. He'd be like,
Was it a designing
this
of
is
it?
Ted Baker. And or so, like one of his mates got a nosebleed, but they just bled all over. It's like, I think you should stop wearing white shirts is my advice here, because
It's a shirt write-off guy.
He's the same guy who once came back to his room. We were students. He came back to his room. He didn't know that for some reason some other people had been hanging out in his room while he wasn't there.
What?
Somebody had left a pint glass almost completely full of lager on the end of his bed. And he came in the dark, and of course not expecting there to be a pint of lager on the end of his bed, he knocked it all over his bed.
Oh, God, I'd be so
Couldn't go to
pissed off.
sleep because his bed was covered in lager. He was really cross about that one.
I would be furious. I'd be absolutely furious.
He was just a man for whom liquids were a sort of natural enemy.
He's lost all his no claims bonus from laundry, hasn't he? His laundry no claims. He can't
well, you
get.
could probably, I don't know, you could probably air it out. It would just be the smell would be the giveaway.
He can't insure a
smoking
shirt
gun.
again. He's just such a liability. Bless him.
I was going to say, sorry, I don't want to go back to the Wells with Higa again, but I was going to say there's nothing like it. I realise there is. There's the Alpine A110.
Yeah, and the Alpine A110 is obviously very highly regarded amongst many folks, and I think it's almost an instant classic.
But what I realised is that the Robin car is a manual gearbox and no turbo. So I think, could we see Gordon Murray chopping in his Alpine for a Wells Vertigo?
I
It's more up his
completely.
street.
That's Murray. That's Murray all over that car,
Yeah,
isn't it?
looks like
That is Murray all over, and I can imagine him. He'll get some very lightweight magnesium wheels made for it, or something billet.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's
He just-
and he likes Ford engines as well, doesn't he, Gordon Murray? So he'd be down with the 2-litre Folds unit, probably.
Yeah.
He'd
There we
speak to
go.
his mates at Cozzy,
Because
and they'll warm it over, and before you know it, that 208 horsepower's 260, and
Yeah,
do you know
yeah.
what? I'm getting a bit excited about this. I'm hoping
Gordon
it
Murray
will come.
buying a new car.
Well, yeah, always. I'm excited about Gordon, just generally.
But flipping heck, have you seen that Alpha Junior Zagato that he's had made by Alphaholics?
Yeah, he wanted me to drive it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. I'm supposed to go over there and drive it at some point in the
You
not too
bastard.
distant future. I know, Kez, you bastard. I
I
know.
was just looking at pictures of it the other day
It's incredible.
because I haven't fully appreciated some of the stuff that he had them do to it. Because I love those, but I always think the design is just a little bit off. Like it could be better. The rear wheel arches to me always look like, you know, when somebody has a bad haircut and the barber
Yes.
takes away too much hair around the ears. That's what the back wheel arches on those look like as
They're a
standard.
bit high.
But he's fixed that because he's had the ride height done and I think bigger wheels put on it perhaps. And also they've got really khaki door handles, like they look like something that would open the door on a digger.
I know the ones.
And he's had those taken off, so it really cleans up the side.
So is it handleless? So he's gone for the solenoid pop release, or
I
is he?
think it's handleless. I'm going to have to look now and see, or has he just had a little subtle button put somewhere? I don't know. Either way, yeah, it's just like totally clean door on it.
Yeah, it's a cool car.
It's a really cool car.
I must call him at once.
I think you should.
But now, listen, guys, look. Here's the situation. Breaking news. I was in Aldi the other week, and I was in the middle aisle. We all know what the middle aisle of Aldi's like. Well, not if you're American, you might not know. But
Well, explain it. Explain it.
miscellaneous.
It's overseas, yeah. It's whatever
Aldi-
shit they've got in, isn't it, basically? It feels like...
Aldi's a German food store primarily, as is Lidl. They're both similar. The middle aisle is like a spin the roulette wheel, roll the dice for what else you may or may not want to buy. So there can be anything from garden furniture and tools to children's jigsaws to foot spas to, I don't know, lanterns for the garden. I mean, exercise dumbbells. I mean, bloody hell, honestly, you name it. It's even like artists' easels and all sorts of shizzle. It's a compelling place, and I have to show restraint when I go. Anyway, I was in the middle aisle the other week, and I bought some car mats for my Honda, only made by Michelin. I've got some Michelin car mats.
Okay.
Did we know? I never knew that Michelin made car mats. Did anybody else? Am I the last one to find this out? Not only that, I don't think they're not Pilot Spalt or anything like that. But yeah, they're really good quality Michelin car mats, and it led me to think: do any other tyre manufacturers make mats?
Well,
do they? I don't know.
Maybe they all do, because they have expertise in rubber.
Yeah.
So they've sort of
And
got a head
cars.
start on, say, Cadbury or Nokia.
Yeah.
Or people who make paracetamol. I don't know.
Yes.
Who they
Nurofen.
are. Nurofen.
Yes.
There, you see that Nurofen floor mats, you just go,
No, I
feels
can't
like
see
your
the
business model's
connection.
too diffuse here. You should knuckle down and just concentrate on making pain relief. But I don't know. Interesting.
Brilliant, hey? So I bought them, and I've got them back, and really...
Do they have a picture of Bibendum on them?
Yeah, but not on the mat, but on all of the cardboard packaging which it came with. I'm pretty sure there's no Bibendum on it, but it does say Michelin in it. And yeah, I don't know why. I can't remember the last time I got so thrilled about car mats. And then the main reason is because my Insight, the original mats for overmats for a Honda Insight, first generation Honda Insight, are absolute like unicorn material. You can't find them. They're hen's teeth. And I used to have a pair of mats for them, but I think since I sold it back to Honda, I think they stole them and used them on one of their other Honda Insights. So I'm matless.
Hi
guys, I'm matless.
These new mats, but do they fit? Are they shaped enough that they sort of?
They're shaped enough, and the rubber is very supple. So it moulds around the edges, and it doesn't. There's not like an annoying flap near your clutch pedal or anything like that.
That's good.
Which you sometimes get. Nobody wants a clutch pedal flap.
Somebody told me years ago that of all the tyre manufacturers, Michelin generally made the roundest tyres. Which I know sounds stupid. Yeah, but tyres aren't perfectly round. They're as round as they possibly can be, because obviously that's better and more balanced. But of the tyre manufacturers, apparently Michelin were the ones who consistently made the roundest tyres. This was told to me years and years ago. Maybe they've all caught up now, but yeah.
Oh, amazing.
It's by an engineer as well, so you presume they know their shit. But yeah, he just very casually went, Michelin make the roundest tyres. And I went, what are you on about? They're all round, but they're not. So
it hadn't occurred to me.
So I think Michelin know their shizzle, and they do the tyres for the A380, don't they? I think so. They're pretty. That's a big responsibility.
Do. I've built one. I probably told you that before.
When you were doing your
documentary years ago, yeah, I built one for an A380 and helped to fit it, and then watched as they did several emergency landings and takeoffs in it. It was really thrilling.
Emergency takeoff.
I don't know what an emergency takeoff is.
Shit, we've got to get out of here. Go, go, go.
Got to shake a load of pigeons off the back of it. Yeah, just take off. Get a spider off the windscreen.
I think the mats. That's good.
Yeah, so
I'd like to see them.
I want to know if anyone else has been worryingly thrilled by car mats like me, but I'm still on the lookout for original Insight mats if anyone's got any. Just put that out there. Not that I don't like the Michelin ones because they're great, but stickler for detail and all that. Recently I mentioned about people car garage measurers. Remember when we started talking about tennis ball hanging from the ceiling, folks? Well, my mum, who listens to the podcast, hi mum, she said, she said, do you remember Jerry, our neighbour? He wasn't a garage measurer because he bought a 5 Series diesel to tow the caravan, and it wouldn't quite fit in the garage, and he was really annoyed because it's the first car he's ever parked outside and left it. and it was white. I remember when he got it new, it was I think it was a 5. It would have been E34. Yeah, it would have been E34, and it was is it a 525 TDS?
Yes.
Would have been early days of turbo diesel, I think.
Yeah.
So I was quite impressed with it because I think
that was the Sportia one, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, so he had that because he had a twin axle caravan. Jerry was a bit of a dude, actually. He used to wear a captain's hat when he used to walk up to the. Yeah, he's a captain's hat wearer. I don't even think he'd ever captained a ship or any boat, but he certainly captained a caravan. He was very, very good at that. And Jerry was lovely. I used to look after his garden and his pond when him and his wife Pam went on holiday.
Oh, Pam!
And he would always overpay. I mean, this is going back. What was I? 12 years old, let's say, 11. He would always give you more money than you expected. He was good like that. Never wanted change. Give you a nice crisp tenner when you're like. It was never going to be worth more than a fiver, but thanks, Jerry. Jerry was a dude. He also had some really cool cars. I was just thinking that prior to that, I think he had a Volvo 360 GLT, of course, with the tow bar because it was all about towing the caravan. And he had a big Vauxhall. I remember it can't have been that big because it would have fitted in the garage, but he had a larger engine Vauxhall. Might have been an Astra. Anyway, it's just another tale from the cul-de-sac of which I lived in. But there are people that measure garages, I think.
Somebody, apologies for not being able to find this, but somebody, I think, on the Patreon pointed out that in the, I think, 90s, there was a Rover advert that was centred around somebody with a car that wouldn't fit in their garage. Rover had decided that if you bought one of their cars and you didn't like it, they would give you all your money back within a certain amount of time. And it was for whatever reason. And it showed this bloke driving back to his house in his brand new Rover 800, and then he puts it in the garage and tries to put the garage door down, and the back of it doesn't fit in. And I'd forgotten about this ad, and somebody reminded me. I don't know if it's on YouTube. I didn't bother to look. But speaking of stitchbacks to previous shows, last week you mentioned rally drivers. I don't know how you describe it, but
yes, moonlighting businesses of rally drivers.
Sorry, Declan. I've just found Declan Berridge was the person who he said I seem to recall a 90s advert for Rover's used car exchange. I thought it was new car, but yeah, fair enough. It may have been used car exchange that involved someone discovering that their new purchase wouldn't fit in their garage. Yeah.
That's annoying,
right, sir. And Ed Storer joins in and says, yes, I have this picture on the back of a brochure for the Rover 600 circa 1998. Okay. There we go. But yeah, your thing about rally drivers doing side jobs based around their
moonlighting
names.
Rally drivers. Yes, exactly.
Rally drivers got quite a response. I'll read out some of the Patreon ones. Andrew Armstrong suggests Didier's Aerials.
Didier's Aerials. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Francois Decorator as well. Another of his suggestions.
That's really good. That's way better than mine.
Walter Roll, that's a bakery business.
Oh, Walter's Rolls, of course. Does he do baguettes as well? Yeah.
I think my favourite was Ari Vatman. He's a rallying legend who also helps you out with your quarterly tax issues.
Ari Vatman.
Claim it back. Are you sure, Ari? Oh yeah, I'm Ari Vatman. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. The advert would be, Did you open your tax letter and say, oh dear God, you need to speak to Ari the Vatman? Yeah. Speak to him now. Yes. Come and talk to me, and I will sort all your VAT out. It's no problem.
Oh, well, now also, so it's another stitch back. We were speculating that an RS6 estate, as we saw outside our hotel last week, would be quite expensive in the Netherlands, where that car was from. Alex Klaassen, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, says, being Dutch, I can confirm that buying an RS6 is quite an expensive thing to do. On the road base price is just over €205,000. That's about £180,000. Of which €62,500, or about £55,000, is registration tax.
That much?
In the UK, an RS6 is £112,650. So, yes, he says, you'll need quite some wealth to acquire one new.
Oh, my gosh. Wow, okay. Oh, talking of I had someone called Andrew Stacey on Instagram say, what about Tony Pond's pond installs? And then I got back to him and went, of course, Tony Pond's liners. Most pond owners always suffer from a punctured liner. That's where Tony Pond can help. He'll storm in at high speed. He'll just look at it and go, yeah, it's punctured about 30 centimetres below the surface. I'll sort that out in the next 48 hours. He storms away.
No, because he's using a Metro 6R4 as a van. So he has to squeeze all the new liners in above the engine. And they're always melting. So in fact, he's crap. His business is going down the... Do you know about ponds? Do I know about ponds? I'm Tony Pond.
Yeah, it's all about Tony's ponds.
George Wade says, I'm surprised you didn't mention Michelle Mutton and her cheap cuts of lamb business. Alistair Niche, also one for DDA's aerials. That's a good one. John Hammond says, vehicle sign writing by Carlos Signs.
Of course. Carlos's signs. I was trying to think of. There was another. Is it Ogier? Sebastian Ogier, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. What? It's read Ogier, isn't it? Ogier.
Ogier. Yeah.
Or Ogier.
Ogier. Yes.
Yeah. What would he purvey? I was really stuck on him. Yeah.
OJ.
Oh, what? Orange juice? It's a juice bar. It's a juice bar.
Yeah. Tim Foster has come up with a spin on Ari Vatman. He suggests that it's an Indian restaurant with an accountancy department upstairs. It's Ari's Vat and Naan.
What a great combo. You go, we all know tax is boring, but who wants a curry? Yeah.
You sit down there, tuck into your lamb boona, and I'll just go and see if we can claim some of that back for that desk you had to buy. That's Brendan McAleer. Hello, Brendan, friend of the show. He says, much missed rally driving barber and hairstylist Richard Sideburns.
Oh, that's a good one. Matthew Wilson, of course, son of Malcolm Wilson, very good at writing out official documents if you pass away. It's what they're all about. Will's sons. John
Hammond said there's a Welsh electric van rental agency, Gwyndaf E-Vans. What have you started?
I've started something shit, and I love it.
Absolute dingle. It is. That's the thing. They're magnificently shit in the best possible way. I was trying to find a few more but there've been so many of these bastard things. Honestly, it's ridiculous. Ali, Travis's pastrami, and Jensen's buttons.
Oh, of course. No, now, so Jensen specialises, and he's pissed off about the whole touchscreen phenomenon in cars because he can't repair those. So he's trying to bring. You notice he's very prejudiced against touchscreens in cars because he's always trying to PR himself as like, let's all get physical buttons in cars and cockpits again, and that way I can always do the repair that I need. So he's the guy to talk to if I don't know your heated rear window button gets stuck in on your Mercedes. It can happen. Jensen's your man for that. He's excellent.
Actually, a listener called Felix Carstensen has solved your Sebastian Ogier one. He suggested Sebastian Ogre, a children's entertainer impersonating Shrek. Felix also suggested, which I liked,
he's a
local
cosplay
fishmonger. Well, maybe it is. Felix also suggested local fishmonger Timo Salmon Man.
This is so stupid.
These are so stupid.
Oh, gosh.
Sake. Oh my God. Ian Court has sent loads of them, and he's gone with Tony's Ponds as well.
Has he?
Yeah. But also,
Tommy Mackinnon sells coats, of course. You know that, don't you? Yeah. Tommy's Max. And then
Ian Tony Gardemeister. He's Tony Garden Master, the landscape.
Oh, he's gardener. Landscaping. Of course.
DDA's aerials he's also gone for there. And I'll do one more. I don't know. These are absolutely terrible.
That's why I like them.
I know. I think that's why you like them. Here we go. Coupleby suggested this one as well, but I'll go with Alex Shorrock, who suggested Collins McCrayfish.
Oh, of course.
from the
Yeah.
Scottish Shellfish Emporium.
Yeah, does very well out of it.
While
Does
we're going
very
through
well.
emails, I have to mention this. This is from someone we know, but his email is entitled, "Do not mention my name," in capital letters. And you'll understand why.
Okay.
He sent a screen grab from an adult website of
Right.
3 young ladies really quite enjoying themselves together. And but the reason he sent it through is because this particular grown-up video is entitled "Sweet, Sweet Threesome." So it's good to know that the
sweet
Smith & Smith
threesome.
argot has reached the pornography industry.
Well-
albeit I'm sure accidentally. I don't.
It's a large industry, and
It's not. if our friend, who we shall not name, sends through next week a screen grab of one called "Look, listen, guys,
Guys.
it's a threesome," then we'll know that somebody who works at Grot Hub or whatever is definitely.
well, actually,
listener.
that could be a worthy. That could be a worthy sort of grotty video, couldn't it? Look, guys, and then you can imagine the cover. It's obviously laden with guys. Or maybe all pointing in the same direction. Or, I don't know, playing golf naked or something. Cat, what are you doing? Cat's just running around playing with an invisible ball. What are you doing?
Is it a rave cat? Is it doing like big box, little box?
I'm going to let Brian out. Well, just one second. Let Brian the line out.
I'm not sure. Do people know? I don't know whether listeners are aware that Johnny has a cat called Brian, but anyway, he does. Brian's something of a motor industry cat, because it used to belong to a friend of ours who is now a very, very important person, a well-known car company. But
In America, yeah. He's gone to America.
America. So anyway,
I'm still chuckling about the silly rally drivers. Bloody
yeah. We'll draw a line to that now. I think probably we've got enough of those. Don't feel compelled to write in. It's fine. We'll think of another game.
no,
for you.
still right in.
Okay. I was looking at what else I'd written down to talk about this week. Have you ever done that thing where you want somebody to know you're looking approvingly at their car?
Yes.
Like, you don't want to have a chat with them because you haven't got time or you just can't be bothered. But
Yes.
you want to make it very plain that you're going, at their car. And I
did it last week.
Oh, did you?
On the way to work. Yeah, weirdly. Yeah.
Oh, so from your car to another car?
Yeah, the traffic was getting a little bit heavy, and I was in the left lane, and I ultimately went past him because he was slowing down because the faster lane was getting backed up. And it was a really good condition Ford Escort Cosworth. Cosworth. And I thought, God, middle of winter, don't see them out on the road much anyway. And it looked really good. I thought, has he just bought it and he's just driving it home and he's going to quickly like soap it down? I don't know, but it was. I did that glancing thing, and then I caught someone doing it to me in the Insight this week. Not the Insight, the Element.
Oh,
Someone was doing it to my Element, and it was a lady who'd pulled her sunglasses down like they do in 80s films.
I had that.
Did you?
Recently, when I was driving that F-150 Lightning in America, I pulled up at some lights and there was a guy in a Ram truck next to me, to my right, and he was just slightly ahead of me at the lights. He'd slightly jumped the line, and his window went down. So his driver's window is next to my car.
Yeah.
And it was this kind of cowboy-looking bloke, and he looked. He gave the car a good checking over with his eyes, but only after lowering his sunglasses like someone in a movie. And I was just like, what's going on here? I feel like I'm in a terrible advert for jeans.
That's right. It does feel like that, a pre-internet TV advert.
Yeah.
Just really cool.
I had it a couple of days ago, whenever it was, that I picked the kids up from their after-school clubs, and it was dark, and I was walking up the sort of the road that goes up to the school, and I saw, it's very dark, and there was, in the darkness, I saw 4 headlights, not switched on, but I could just make out the shape of 4 headlights. And I thought, initially, it was like, oh, it's a Jag X-Type. But rather than it being an X-Type far away, it was an XJ a bit nearer, and it was an X350, so the alley-bodied but sort of trad-looking one, which I've always got a soft spot for.
Yeah. Me too.
And it wasn't an R, but it looked really tidy. And there was a guy who'd just got in the driver's seat, and then his wife partner was getting their kid in the back. And he started the engine, and I realised it wasn't a diesel, as a lot of those were. It was a V8.
Oh.
So immediately I was like, this is good. And it looked really good. Even in the darkness, I was like, that just looks well kept. So I wanted to make a point of having a good look at it. And even as I'd walked past it, I looked back at it. I thought, I want this guy to go away going, someone just checked out my car, and that makes me feel good. So, I thought it's a nice feeling.
Let's do more of this. It's hashtag be car kind, isn't it? It's almost, even if it's not a car you want to own, there's something about it. You've either admired the condition, the preservation of it, or you can just tell that person loves it. And it's just a bit different. It's just a seldom seen car. For example, I saw an immaculate Fiat Idea yesterday.
Oh.
When was the last time you saw a Fiat Idea?
I have no idea.
I expect about 60 people bought them in Britain. I'm not sure it was Fiat's best-selling car, but yeah, sure enough, I saw one.
Wow.
And it was really, really good condition. I did a bit of hello, Fiat Idea.
I just wonder, if you've got a Fiat Idea, I don't know that you're I don't think you'd notice if someone's checking it out. I think you'd think, why are they looking at my car? Is there something wrong with my car?
Have I got a puncture?
Steal my car? Yeah, because you wouldn't go, they're checking out my modern classic Fiat. Fiat Coupe or Barchetta, yes.
Yes.
Idea. Why has someone got a Fiat Idea unless they're such a Fiat enthusiast that they just, that's their everyday car?
They went to go and buy a Panda, and the salesperson just went, look, I can do you a much better deal than a Panda on one of these. They point at the Idea, and the person went, well,
but I don't want
it's
that.
Kind of the same-ish. Does it work? Yes. Can you warranty it? Yes. Right, bollocks. Let's just do the paperwork because I'm going out tonight.
I'm in a bit of a rush. I don't know. Is it fine? Has it got brakes? Has it got airbags? Do rotating knives fly out of the dashboard when you touch the accelerator? No. Good. Fine. I'll take it.
Exactly. It's completely that.
Well, okay.
I know.
It was not a terrible-looking car, but sort of...
No idea.
It's just a type of car that's gone away again, hasn't it? The small MPV.
Yeah, and it's a little bit sad.
The Mariva. And
that was quite bad.
Bamax, the Ford Bamax, and the Mercedes B-Class, I guess you'd say, was part of that.
Yeah, which I
cohort.
can't decide whether I like the B-Class or not. The proportions are odd. And in certain specs and colours, they look all right. They go, oh, okay. But like an R-Class, it took me a long time to love an R-Class.
Yeah, I always thought the R-Class was a bit stupid, but...
yeah, but at the same time...
Weird. I realised the B-Class still exists, doesn't it?
It does still exist.
But not quite as tall and boxy. It's kind of...
Yeah.
Well, but it is a bit, but I don't know what it's trying to be now. A crossover,
Joe, you've just reminded me with the B-Class or B-Class. The Bamax.
The Bamax is definitely got a slidey doors on it.
Bottom axe. I passed one only last week, and unfortunately wasn't able to legally take a photo of it, and I nearly messaged you, voice messaged you to say, I've just passed this, you're not going to believe it. I was coming up to overtake it, and the first thing I noticed was, oh God, it's fully steamed up. One of these people that can't work the controls in a car, especially in winter, so they're just driving around in a fully steamed up car. What sort of a stroker are you? But not only that, as I was passing it, I burst out into laughter because the back door... right in the middle of the door, was a huge chrome sport badge.
Oh.
But it was in the middle of the door. Like, does anybody put a badge in the middle? Okay, our Bath, they like to stick a scorpion in the middle of a quarter panel. But this was
they're random badgists, definitely. But
they are, but like it was right in the middle. So I'm thinking he's gouged it, hasn't he? He's caught it on a post and gone, shit. What do I do? And he's gone and got one of those really pronounced chrome stick-on. It was a big chunky badge, a stick-on spoke badge. And I just thought because it's a B Max, which isn't sporty,
No.
And it's in the middle of a door, so everybody sees it because it just draws your eye in. It just really tickled me. But
No,
unfortunately,
I wonder whether he
evidence.
evened it up with the other side.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. But all I could tell was he doesn't know how to use the demisters in his car because he was just driving around like it was a steam room in there. or he'd left a window open all night. We've all been there. We've all done it. And then got in it and put the heating on to 30. And it's just instantly turned into, like some sort of like...
That's a steam room.
Yeah, like a Victorian winter garden or something like that. It's
They're humid
it's just
places, aren't
just sweating. The whole thing's just sweating.
There's a bum-backed Megane that I keep walking past near here. I hadn't seen it before. It's suddenly turned up. Now, it's not only is a bum-back Megane, you don't see them so much anymore. It's the 3-door as well, but it's not a Renault Spoke one. It's just a normal Megane.
I love the Megane bum back.
It looks all right, actually. It's
I
in
like
a sort of jade green colour. It's not bad. But the passenger door window is a little bit open and has been like that now for a week. That car's been there.
Oh, gosh.
And it's bothering me because I'm like, it's been very cold.
Yeah.
I think there's been a bit of rain. It's definitely been frosty. There's been a bit of rain, so moisture's got inside, and then it will have frozen because it's been chuffing chilly the last week or so.
I maintain to our listeners it's still my favourite Megane, and an R26, or preferably an R26R with the shaking that ass model is still, for me, it's still peak hot hatch, I think.
Yeah, they're great.
And I would like to own one, and I've heard lots of mixed reports about how much of a liability they are to live with, but I still want to do it.
When you offered one for like 90 quid or something at one point.
It wasn't 90 quid, sadly. It wasn't cheap enough for me to just go, bollocks. But I was offered one. It wasn't an R, it was a non-R.
Oh, okay. I just seem to remember you were offered one for what I thought was, at the time, sort of quite a nice price, but obviously not nice enough to justify a car you don't need.
No, but I would. One day I will. And if anybody owns one off of this, listening to off of the podcast all that, please let me know.
90 quid is waiting for you now.
I was going to say, I'm willing to pay in excess of £130 for the right car.
Oh, my gosh.
Thank you. We buy any car. Of course you do, because you offer everyone a small price. It's not science, is it? Look, I'll buy your 320d BMW for £210.
What will you give me for this Hispano Suiza? £130.
Yes.
Great.
I said we'll buy
then
it.
We're going to knock 20 quid off because it's got a scratch on the front wing.
There's
ran over a street urchin in 1924.
That's right. I've got this Gordon Keeble. All the tyres are bald. Yeah, unfortunately, that means we'll give you 300 quid for it. It would have been worth 500 with good tyres, but
sorry about that.
Sad but
true.
true.
I know we did that online, but we had to knock some money off because it's been used. Right. Yeah. Anyway, look, we should bring this to a halt. Guys, I think we talked about cars quite a lot this week. I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry. We've had some complaints about that in recent time.
All right, well, next week... actually, next week we should probably do some proper run through listeners' messages because we keep saying we're going to do that and then we don't.
I think we should have Carlos Ghosn as a guest next week. Should we try and do that?
Speaking from inside a cello case or whatever it was.
In Israel. Is he in Israel? He's in a very... Lebanon, that's it. Yeah, okay. So live from Lebanon inside a cello case, we have Carlos and his gnomes.
Right.
Beatnik
Well, that's all to come, or not, as the case may be. But in the meantime, I've got 3 things to tell you. They are: 1, Johnny has a solo YouTube channel. It's called The Integrate Strakes Show, in which Johnny attempts to smoothly add 1980s styling features to modern cars for no reason whatsoever. This week, he's using 8 balsa planks and a bucket of Isopon. Kia Stonic, like a Ferrari 348. If that's not to your taste, there's always The Late Break Show, which has got many excellent videos about cars and people who love cars. What's up there at the moment? I can't remember. I watched your Jeep Avenger walk around. Very interesting. I've got quite a want on for that car as a sort of... Because I'm already thinking down the road, what do we replace our E-Up with? Because I think by the time the lease comes up, there won't be any small electric cars to speak of, because they'll stop making that.
I'm very interested.
Small-ish electric cars would be my want, and that'll look quite good.
It's a good vehicle. And by the time you listen to this cast, there will be a very hopefully interesting to you video all about Subaru 22B Impreza recreations.
Oh, yes.
And it's just a poor excuse for me to drive a classic Impreza again, which I would like to report that they're still exciting and fun.
Second thing I've got to tell you is, well, I was going to promote our live show at Lotus on the 9th of February, but it's sold out.
Do that. Yeah, don't do that.
In a matter of hours. So thank you to everybody who's bought a ticket and is coming along. We'll see you on the 9th. But I'm sorry about that. The tickets went like crazy. We offered them to our patrons on Friday evening. And
3/4 of them sold, I think.
Yeah, so by the time it went on General Sale on the Monday morning, there weren't that many left, and they just went like snap. And so we are going to do some more live shows very soon in other parts of the country, including we are in talks at the moment to do a slightly bigger event, which hopefully we can pull off later in the year. So if you are not coming to Lotus, or you wanted to and couldn't, then hopefully we will do something that you can come to. But thanks to everyone who bought tickets so quickly. We appreciate it. It makes us feel loved. And the third thing I've got to tell you is that even brand new aeroplanes still have ashtrays in the loos, even though smoking has been banned on flights since the 90s.
Yes. Why?
Well, the logic is, if somebody is foolish enough to still try and smoke a cigarette in the loos, which is likely where they do it, because they think they can get away with it, even though everyone knows they have smoke detectors in there,
yeah,
and then gets busted by the cabin crew or panics and tries to put the cigarette out, they would rather give them somewhere to safely put the cigarette out than chuck it into the waste bin, which is full of paper and will cause a fire, which is very bad on a plane. So the ashtray is there so that if you're a bit of a dipshit and you decide to have a cigarette in the loo and then decide better of it, hopefully you will sensibly put the cigarette out in the ashtray and at least it won't cause a fire on a plane.
Oh,
now, I don't know why you wouldn't just flush it down the loo, or indeed why you would use the ashtray, because if they said, have you been smoking here? You go, no. We'll just check the ashtray and there's a cigarette butt in there. I feel like it's the last place somebody doing something they shouldn't would stub out a cigarette. But there we go. That is why brand new planes still have ashtrays in loos.
I'm baffled by that. I mean,
it is baffling, isn't it?
Surely you just smother it in a load of ultra dry toilet paper, which has just had a load of perfume pumped all over it. And then just sort of and wave your hands over it while it's in the pan, and you haven't bothered to flush it yet. I think something like that would be ideal.
Wasn't the trick used to be that if you knelt down right by the loo and then constantly flushed it, it was supposed to suck the smoke down there so that you wouldn't set off the smoke alarms?
Oh, really? So you blow... Has anybody smoked in a toilet of an aeroplane when you're not supposed to?
I mean,
come on.
You've got to be very desperate for a cigarette.
It's a bit like weeing whilst you're driving. It's just a false economy. It just doesn't work. You shouldn't do it. And that's a conversation for next week, I'm sure.
Or is it? I don't know. Anyway, look, we have to stop now, but thank you ever so much for listening. And next week, hopefully, we will answer some of your messages. Until then, goodbye.
Bye now. Listen, mate, gone and got a kit on the Prelude, like, you know what I mean, like body kit. I don't know what kit it is, some shit, but it looks really cold, ever so cold.
Cold?
Doesn't matter though, it's still rapid, unbeaten. Everywhere we go, like, nobody touches it, like, it will not be beaten. Like an Accord, but for players. Understand the gravity of this, man. Understand it. Everywhere we go, like name a city in the West Midlands, it will always get beaten. Nobody touches it. I dare you, touch it. No, you won't touch it. It's a 2+2, but there's still a little bit of room in the back for me with, like, my jacket on, like my Helly Hansen and that. But it doesn't matter. I'm in the back, I'm smoking weed. I'm enjoying a bit of Moroccan Black, maybe playing a bit of Snake on the Nokia or some shit. It's good. It's all good, Bit of Mickey Finn on, bit of Aphrodite, maybe like DJ Ratty, Pilgrim, that shit. Chill in the back. Then some prick in a Ferrari come and try it. We bury him, we bury him. The VTEC delivers. You get me?